Come tap in one time with me, folks. All right. Come tap in, man. You see the subject at hand. Come on in. Yeah, looking like y'all agreeing. Listen, Ramadan Mubarak to everybody that's here, man. Blessings and activities to everybody that's activated. Bless everybody that take advantage of the opportunities that's in the market and their daily grind. Bless to everybody that know how to command their moment and their time. You understand me? And who spend time with those who can give them the game and the necessary information to complete their goals. I focus on a few things, man. And, being top global thought leader of our generation, it's a responsibility to understand the industries and the skill sets necessary that we need to acquire in order to grow, right? And one of the qualifications that make me a great thought leader is the fact that I can help expand and change minds. And that requires me to speak truth to power. That requires me to have an abundance of intelligence so that we can be able to teach the people, right? A lot of the things that we went over tonight, right, was about cryptocurrency, how to get in, what are strategies that you can utilize to play if you want to day trade, right? And you want to get in and out and you want to make your money work for you. And this strategy can be used all across the market in a broad spectrum of different ways. And another different thing that we taught you was the mindset that you need to develop so that the skill sets that you possess, you can employ and you can actually execute and bridge the gap between you and where you want to be. There's no reason that you should have something that you desire and it's not yours, whether it's a car, whether it's a relationship, right? Whether it's a better body, you know what I'm talking about? Whether it's money to help out your family. All things should be yours, whether you want to fire your boss and become your own so you can control your time, right? Whether you want to travel the world, whether you just want to feel what it's like to not have to answer to somebody that you don't really believe in. Like, you should have all of those options, right? But if you can't command your desires because you lack the frequency of your desires, you got to match the frequency. You got to vibrate at the same exact level. We think of $1 million. You got to make $1 million small. You have to make $1 million $1,000. You have to make $1,000 $1. These things cannot continue to be big. Otherwise, they seem out of your grasp. And you don't produce the actions and the thoughts necessary to make it a physical reality. If you leave them only in your mind, that's like a baby staying only in the womb. Imagine if you just stayed in your mother's womb. You would die, right? Or you would kill the host. You get too big. You couldn't stay in there. Big thoughts, when they are ready to go, they must be birthed now. They can't wait, regardless of the pain that it takes to produce it into labor. When a woman is about to give birth, it's called the crowning. And the crowning is the most painful stage. Some people, they got to go and get the C-sections. They got to get put under. They can't handle it. Now, for natural birth, some people give water births, allowing the baby to float out. Some women stand up, squat down, and let gravity do its work. Right? Some people die during the birthing stage, right? But there's a lot of people who also abort. They say it's too powerful, it's too much pain, I don't want to go through it. And so instead of producing the baby, which is that idea, which happens in the fecundity of your mind, instead of producing that baby, well, I had an idea of something I wanted to do, but I didn't really feel like actually educating myself. I didn't really feel like taking some time, consuming new information, studying, researching, and knowing that this is going to help my life in the next 3 to 5 months. Knowing that this is going to help me in the next 10 to 20 years, because who has time to think that far? When it comes to, I'm going to teach people sales, right? When that sales comes with organic marketing, When it comes to organic marketing, I've been able to do 7 figures through organic marketing, right? I've been able to put together some of the greatest organizations that our generation has ever seen. And I coach some of the highest thought leaders, celebrities, influencers that are here to date. That's because I worked so much to develop my mind so that when I give thoughts to others, it can develop their mind as well. When it comes to these NFTs, there's no reason that you should be behind me. The only difference is I spent more time understanding the industry. And I have a creative mindset when it comes to applying it. So tomorrow I will be teaching NFTs, non-fungible tokens. That goes into cryptocurrency. That goes into the blockchain. That goes into the use cases of how you can actually use these things on an everyday basis and why it even make money or why it even makes sense for you to know about them. Listen, bros are dying in the street on a daily basis. Police are killing and murdering us, and we ain't got the wealth to go to war. It take wealth to go to war. We can go out there and yell all we want to, but your great activists, they got to get funded by somebody who has wealth. So I would rather you not only just be the activist, be the one who funds your activism. Yeah, it's the 19th. Thank you, Natar. But that's the 19th. So as we continue to work and command our own destinies and our desires, you understand me? We got to make sure that we got the wealth to be able to fight the wars that we want to. Some of you all in stress and anxiety and depression and thoughts of suicide, you don't know what's next. Your financial situation is in disarray and you think that's just the way it is, and it don't have to be. That's the way you worked it to be. But when you can command your mind and change your subconscious reality, it becomes a difference between what you think and what you do. See, the reality, if you take a look around, you've thought this into existence. You worked it into existence. You only deserve what you work for. The reason that I'm great at marketing is because I've studied marketing for years. I've studied branding, brand psychology, right? I've studied esoteric knowledge. I've studied neuroscience to add so many different things. Neuroscience, like there's so much that goes into it. I didn't just jump in and say, let me start a company day one and I'm going to be brilliant with it. The experience that comes along with it. I understand curiosity gaps. I understand shock value. A large percentage of people only came in because the title, how was it? It had sex in the title. Sex sells. Sex shocks. Sex is one of those things that utilizes all of our senses. Taste, touch, smell, sight, hearing. So it gets embedded into us. But we have to have that same desire that we have towards sexual things that are only to please us, to give us short-term bursts of pleasure. That desire should be towards producing thoughts out of your mind and having that burst of orgasmic appreciation for your ability to live and produce in your mind to work. Somebody say, how do you break a habit? You got to just stop doing it. If you smoke weed, the best way to stop smoking weed is to stop smoking weed. The question is how long can you continue to stop smoking before you start smoking again? And why would you start smoking again? So if you have a bad habit, the question is, how come you consistently go back? So let's go into the mind. If you have a strong mind, you can do what they call quitting cold turkey. Excuse me, allergies. You can quit cold turkey. You can tell yourself something and then you can do it. You have command, full command over your mind. But if you give yourself an order right now and your mind doesn't listen because it's already trained with habits, we all operate on a certain pattern and frequency. So if you say, oh, I want to save money, but then you go to the store, you spend it. You go to the restaurants, you spend it. You go buy something on Amazon. You go order some food. You buy some clothes that you don't need. You spend it on all these things because you have spending habits. What are habits? And habits are your subconscious programming of your mind. That's where your habits exist. You understand me? And so the things that you do repetitiously, because let me put it on the board. Let me show y'all. It's easier to show y'all than it is to tell you. Let me get y'all to understand something, man. Y'all ain't understanding this game. I'm trying to get y'all to get. You gonna understand this real quick. All right. So imagine this is your thought, right? And these, because thoughts kind of look like trees, right? They kind of go out like electricity, right? And they have these pathways in which they flow on, right? So your thoughts are always flowing and moving in these pathways. Now, before we get to that, let's get to a breakdown of what is that thought. Your thought is electricity, right? It's an electrical current, right? Now, the more you think something, let's say this is your habit, right? Then you do the habit again. Then it becomes layered. Then you do it again. It becomes layered. Do it again. It becomes layered. Do it again. It becomes layered. It becomes a frequency. It becomes a frequency, an energetic signature. And it starts to program you and everything that you do. So what you do frequently becomes your frequency. Now, what can a frequency do? If we're talking about radios, frequencies put you on what? Certain channels. To where you can only do what? If you on a certain channel with a radio, you can only receive what's on that channel. If that channel is poverty, then that's all you go hear, it's all you go receive is this poverty. And that's based on your habits, right? So let's say if you got different habits to where you spending or you investing rather, right? So now that's your frequency, right? And it's giving you a return. That becomes your frequency. That becomes your frequency. That becomes your frequency. You add in there education. You educating yourself, getting you smarter on your investments, right? So now you on a different channel. Now you on the wealth channel. Now money becomes frequently and abundantly. It just comes to you. What was the difference? Here, you were chasing things, right? Down here, you were bringing things to you. Value. Value drives price, right? Value determines the worth of something, right? So we all have a mind, right? And it works in each way. So we just don't like the success of our daily habits, which produces the outcome of our current reality. A current reality, right? An electric, it's a current. So this is your success. But do you like what you're achieving on a daily basis? The dollar was created to do what? The dollar was created to buy things of value and to exchange for things of value, right? So you buying things of value. Now let me break down frequency and an arithmetic. So frequency can be breaking down in hertz, right? So let's go with hertz. I like to use this example. Talking about hertz. Right? You hear something, they say 20 hertz, 30 hertz, 40 hertz, 50 hertz, 60 hertz. Right? And everything has a frequency. Everything in the entire universe can be measured, and you can find the frequency of measurement. They put ECG and they connect it to your brain, and they go say that every thought that you have has a frequency. Okay. So let's say you want, and let's say simple terms. Let's say it's about saving up $100, right? So let's say that $100, that's 100 hertz, right? Let's just put a hertz per. So let's say every day you're going to save $1, right? So that's 1 hertz per day, right? So if you save 1 hertz per day, then it's going to take you what? 100 days to reach 100 hertz, because the frequency of what you want is at 100 hertz. So it's going to take you 100 days at 1 hertz per day to match the frequency of what you want to achieve. Now, let's say some days you fall off. I fell off, right? So I didn't do it some days. Some day I skipped, right? I did it every other day. So now it's going to take you 200 days, because now you at 0.5 frequency per day. You half of what you was there. See, when we put it in front of us and into an arithmetic, it just becomes a formula. What you want is always a formula. It's a formula. What are you doing on a consistent everyday basis to match the frequency of the things that you want? You understand me? And that goes to every single thing, whether it's a billion or a million, whatever it is, you have to raise the vibration on your consistent daily basis, your habits. Now, sometimes you can have a thought that can match an action much more powerful. Some people are already at higher vibrations, to where it may take one person, because of the way that they're using their mind, they're not producing a greater enough charge. That's why we say at a certain point in time, let's look at this. At a certain amount of time, right? What is effectiveness? Going a longer distance. Effectiveness. Hold on, actually, let me put this right here. I'm holding this for no reason. Y'all can see me, cool. So effectiveness, you want to go a longer distance in a shorter amount of time, right? So here's your long distance, but you want to get it done in a shorter amount of time, right? So what may have taken you a year to do, you want to figure out how I can get it done in half a year. You understand me? Or you may want to figure out how I can get it done in a day. So I gave a breakdown earlier that it used to take me a year to do 100K, right? Then I started working together with others, because at first I was trading my time for money, which means that I had to put more time in, right, in order to try to get more money. But it also required me to spend more energy. And I was limited by my cap of energy that I could put in every day. Human energy is measured by joules, Joules. Human energy is measured by joules, right? Now, back in the day, a person would have a horse or something, right? They'd work a farm. This is how slavery started, matter of fact. Back in the day, the white man would come to America because he's seen great opportunities. He said, well, if I can go out there, I can get me some farmland. But somebody needs to work that land in order for me to get into the industries of cotton and things of that nature. Now, if what I do it, then me and my family go be working. So, right, this was me and my family, right? We was able to do from $100,000 year to 100K month, right? Because I wasn't just doing it by myself. They realized, okay, the more cotton that they pick, the more that they able to do. You got the kids working for you, your wife working for you. Then he said, wait a minute. I can go get slaves. I can get more bodies, because they can put in more work, which equals more energy. You understand me? They putting in more energy. Energy is force times distance. So the more force that we put in, the greater distance that it can go. So now that they get these slaves, now what it would have taken them as a family, let's say of 3, a year to do, with slaves they can have a greater amount of harvest. So they seen it as their opportunity to say, no, let me go ahead and get me a manpower is what they called it, right? You got horsepower, you got manpower, right? But horsepower, HP, manpower, was replaced by what? You understand me? a whole new technological revolution, such as the railroads. You understand me? The railroads came in with the steam engines and the coals, and it revolutionized the whole industry. So the formula changed for effectiveness now. So now we utilizing the railroads. The first market crash happened because white men was trying to monopolize the railroads. You understand me? They wanted to take over a whole industry because they realized that if we control this, then we control the world. It allowed for information to flow faster, industry to move, energy change, transportation, communication, the whole nine, right? So then what changed this though? It was no longer from this, because then, number one, technology changed and shift. Then we can go into the internet age, right? Let's just go straight to the internet age. I'm gonna skip over a bunch of different things. The internet age is really the age of the machines, right? The machines allow you to be effective. You understand me? The machines allow you to be effective the way that you use the tools. Because what would have taken, if I wanted to reach 100,000 people, how could I reach 100,000 people in the 30s? Matter of fact, it's 353 people on here. I would have to go outside, and it would take me hours to go deliver this message to 350 people. It would take me hours. I'm talking about going door to door, getting leads, teaching them. Matter of fact, I could not do it in a day to reach 350 people. It'd probably take me a week to reach that amount of people. So now the machines allow us to decrease our time, but to go a further distance. And the machines give us access. Access is the new wealth. Why is access the wealth, kids? Because the men that started to control the industries, they had all of the manpower, which means that they controlled the industries, which means that they controlled the workforce. When you needed a job, you had to go to the person that had the industries. So they became the rulers, right? So now I'm getting out, I got access. If we look at the billionaires in the world, it was what the tech guys, the guys who own social media, the guy Bill Gates, that was the richest man in the world for a long time. What did he do? He had Microsoft. You understand me? The computer age. Right? But when the average person got access to a computer and the internet age came, now I can blast a message out to 100,000 people that used to, only the man who had a message, he had 10 workers, they go out there for a day, you understand me, and they'll go reach about 350 people. If I tried to do it by myself, it would take me a week. So of course they're going to be more efficient and more effective, and they're going to produce more profit, allowing them to take over the industry and snuff out the little man who was trying to start a business. Right? So what we got access. Because three of the most successful black leaders of all time, they have something in common. And that's media. We talking about Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Marcus Garvey, Frederick Douglass. All of them own their own newspaper, allowing them to own what? Communication. So they can publish their ideas to a large mass amount of people. You understand me? And they can get their ideas done because they're not the only ones putting energy towards it. Right? So now you got this big idea, and if you try to do it by yourself, that would have took you a year. Now you have hundreds of thousands of people around the world working towards this same idea and this same goal. So now it allows it to get done much quicker. Right? But then social media comes around. Right? Social media comes around. Social media puts what that machine that the greatest leaders in the world has, social media allow the average person to have that sort of power now. So now you have access to things that you normally couldn't have afforded, that only industry leaders had afforded. Let me change the camera around so y'all can see it. I want to see y'all, but I want y'all to see it from the way that I see it. So if you can see it, even though the board don't matter, just take a listen. So Access is the new wealth because now we have the machines that allow us to be more effective. It gives us access to things that we normally could not afford, right? It's the same thing with education. When my brother Chris Cole broke down something that he said took him years and years of experience, he condensed it down into a subject matter to where he can teach, right, over a short amount of time. And so what did that do? It means that you no longer have to spend the years, right? Where it took him 10 years to learn, you can learn in a matter of hours. That's access. So how much was that time worth? That 10 years of time that he learned to be able to teach. You understand me? Wealth is time. So when you think about that, we are living where access is the new wealth. But access is not just gaining access to information. Let me tell you the real part about it. Because what we just give you, it's a difference between you just give information. Information is what? Data and statistics. That ain't the most valuable. Info, data, statistics. Right? But knowledge is applied information. Which becomes experience. So now you have experience. Information cannot become wisdom. Because wisdom is something you have to utilize over time. Right? It has to deepen and you have to understand it based on the way you go. But the part that's the most important here is smart. Because anybody can be in the market. Somebody can be in the market and not be good at it. Right? But somebody that's successful, they're going to teach you all of the shortcuts. The best way to apply the info based on their experience. So again, it decreases time once you get the smarts. So when you get education from industry leaders and people who've done it before, you now have the smarts, which is the wealth that allows you to apply and act like the wealthy as if you went and did it for the last 10 years. So it's condensing down all of the experience, allowing you to be effective. This is why communication is key. When the phone was created, it allowed communication to move at the speed of light. Or the speed of sound. You know what I'm talking about? So when we're talking about access, you want to always give yourself access. This is why I spend thousands of dollars on education. I spend hours and hours of time on getting things into my mind from people who've done it before. I want to pattern my mind of people who've done it before so I can operate on the same frequency that they on. That's my whole goal. If I see somebody wealthy, I want to operate my thoughts on their frequency because I'm looking at what their frequency is producing. I said, wait a minute. I'll look at what my thoughts are producing. And then I look at the person that I want to be like and what they thoughts are producing. I say, let me adopt that frequency to my thoughts. Let me adopt that pattern of thinking so I can get the same or similar results. That's what the BWO is when you tapping into self-made millionaires in industries that give you skill sets, give you the experience, give you the access, give you the wealth. So therefore, anything that you desire can now become yours. Right? And there's no longer anything in front of you. And you become the winner. So when we look at cryptocurrency allows us to be effective. It allows us to be efficient. You understand me? It allows us to kill our dependency models that we've had for years and years to come on industries that didn't serve our best interest. Because we had inherited social contracts with these industries. And the social contract talks about the fact that before we was born, we was taught, or we had to adhere to certain laws. Now, adhering to certain laws means that you can be a citizen, right? And that the government, for your participation in adhering to these laws, it means that they're supposed to serve your best interest. The best interests of any human being, the natural interests, are freedom, justice, and equality. And supposed to be equity, a piece of this earth. But they did not serve our best interests. They did not give us the equity. It's the same thing when you go to a college and everybody got put in debt. You go to a bank and they got your bank account in negative. You go to a job and you don't learn the skill sets to where you can run a business. Don't you know that you do not have to have a degree to start a college? How does that even make sense? So you telling me that the person that owns the institution that I go to doesn't even need to have a degree? But I got to go into debt just to get here? Why is that? Because it's never meant to make you an owner. You don't need a degree to become an owner. That's a different reality. And once you start to understand that, do you understand the way that the game is played? That America is a corporation, right? That has citizens, and citizens means property, which means that you are slaves to the governing rules and body of this corporation. They have dollars that they use inside their corporation, right? That have perceived value that's only backed by the property that they own because you are assets of America. So the goal is for us to teach you to live above the reality that we've been conditioned, because the way that their reality is set up systematically is to keep you a slave. So when you get the information, the game, the knowledge, the smarts, and the access and the wealth, execute on it. And I see a lot of people trying to find they school in the comments. School ain't in the comments. You trying to get you one tip away from being rich. One little, let me just get one little thing, I'll be wealthy. No. It's gonna take some dedication. You have to exchange your life for the things that you want. Why? Because your life is what? It's your time. Time is the measurement of motion. If the smartest man in the world doesn't put in work, he'll still be broke. Even a genius that doesn't work is useless. So we teaching you how to effectively use your time and your energy and how to manage that, so therefore you can produce what's considered to be wealth. Now, I was able to give a quick little breakdown. And that's why I said this. How was it better than sex? Sex is a fleeting moment of orgasmic desire that comes and goes, and anything of the flesh has to be maintained by the flesh. Meaning that if you have sex, in order to get that same feeling that you got from having sex, you have to have sex again. But when you get knowledge, you can get it one time, and it can charge you for the rest of your life. It's different because it's immaterial. It's not of flesh. It's not material. The most valuable things don't take up physical space. So when people tell me that digital products don't have value because they don't take up physical space, it's astonishing. Because knowledge doesn't have to take up physical space for it to be the most valuable asset on the planet in the known universe. Because knowledge enlightens one, which expands the mind. And as their greatest genius once said, Einstein, once the mind is expanded, it can no longer contract. It's not going back to where it was. You can't unstretch the mind. And they said that the universe is constantly expanding. And so I looked into this. I said, what does that even mean? Well, when it exploded and light pierced the darkness, it expanded the universe. And the expansion of the universe is only talking about that light is reaching places that it had normally not reached before. So the universe is expanding at what's considered to be the speed of light. And that's what happens because information and knowledge, that's why they say you become enlightened and then you have a mental expansion. Because those areas in your mind which once dark, sleep, dormant, and ignorant have now been awakened. And now your mind grows, and now you can use parts of your mind that you didn't even know. We utilize money as a tool all the time to tell our people on why they should jump into this education. But as being top thought leader of our generation, I learned that it's the mindset that people value the most. Because without the mindset, the skill sets mean nothing. I started minding keys which is going to be drip content of me teaching all of the mindset, the attributes that I have, and all of the knowledge that I have to be able to give to the family. But I need to put it in a form to where you can always go back and you can reference exactly what you need, whether it's on procrastination, whether it's on focus, whether it's on mental expansion, whether you want to get into branding or marketing or whatever it may be. That's what the membership is for. You get access to me, my mind, my information, and my talents based on my experience, not just things that I talk about. Because people oftentimes say, Keys, what do you do? Well, if you see the results that I produced, then you can see what I do. There's people who teach marketing who don't have the results that I have. People who teach branding who don't have a global brand. There's people who teach social media don't even have more followers and influence. Why? Perhaps I understand something that they don't. And it's a science that has to be taught. Listen, having a great mind is something that you do. Because the mind is something that you use. And there's a process on how you use it, which means it can be taught, it can be learned, and which means you can get better at it. I don't believe in the impossible, I believe in the I'm possible. You know what I'm talking about? And once you realize that, then you have the keys to successfully unlock your mind, which allows you to control your world. Yeah. See, if you get it now, 1,000, Natara, and anybody else that has that question, thank you for asking the question, number one. She said, if I get it at $1,000 now, will it be $3,000 every year? Matter of fact, it may go up to $10,000 next year. Because if I spend all this year yelling at people on why they need to jump into this, and they miss out on the opportunity, then they deserve to pay more for the opportunity cost. Because every single month we're adding more things into it that you get access to. Every single year. So I'm not about to play with y'all asking questions about value. No. See, they say, don't look at price until you're ready to buy. Don't look at the price until not even until you're ready, until you absolutely know that you want it. It's not about how much it costs. It's about how bad you want it. Once you know that you want it and you determine that you're going to buy it, then all you have to do is figure out what you're going to do in exchange for what you want. But you think of it backwards. You let the price, the sticker shock, stop you. Let me do a quick experiment. And I'm about to leave after this. Right? So, look at this number right here. I'm going to show you how numbers work real quick. Look at that number, right? It's not intimidating. You just see that number. It's still not intimidating. But let me show you how our mind have been programmed and tricked. What did I do? I put a symbol in front of the number. All of a sudden, that number became intimidating. All of a sudden, the energetic property of that number changes. All I did was put a symbol in front of the number. It become a price, and now you either continue to go forward or you repulse it. And anything that you get access has now been repulsed. You're no longer attracting it. You've seen the number and you said it was too much. So anything that this gives access to, you have decided that you're fearful of. You no longer want it. It don't matter if this gives you access to this. Because we've been programmed to think in a poverty-based way. So I don't let numbers, I don't let the price of things control me. Crazy as hell. I buy what I want. Buy what I want. If I want a house, I'm gonna get a house. I don't care whether I got the dollars in my bank account. That's not how you buy things. You buy things with your mind. Because your mind is what produces the value in the first place. People think that we even need money to buy. You don't always need money to buy things. You need will, determination, and you have to decide that you want it and you're going to execute in order to get it. I've decided that so many times in my life, and then I got it. But you have to meet the vibration. So tonight, join the BWO, and I thank you for joining. You got 24 hours. And I can't wait to see y'all into the community, right? And I can't wait for y'all to interact with the community and understand how joyful it is when you got people that got your back. You got people that's willing to help, assist, and teach you and guide you along this process. And that what you thought that you was paying for, you understand me? We actually end up paying you. You know what I'm talking about? I see y'all in PR next month as well. And I see y'all on the 19th for the NFT class and the $10,000 giveaway. Prize giveaway. So I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, man. And I see y'all in the Discord group. You understand me? Once y'all get in the Discord group, just go ahead and send me a message. I'm going to hit you back. Say I'm in, Keys. You know what I'm talking about? Text BWO. And once you get your membership, screenshot it and tag me in it so I can repost it today. I'm reposting everything today. So whoever get their membership today, repost it. You know what I mean? I'm going to follow up with your story. And inshallah, you can fire your job and become a boss. You can afford the things you want. Your time, your energy, time with your family, trips that you want to take, the cars, the clothes. You know what I mean? You can jump into investments. You have more time to even think and be clear-minded. It may take sacrifice. Shoot. But guess what? You're already working 40 hours a week. It ain't going to take that much time. Ain't nobody sitting there trading all goddamn day. I ain't got to sit there and do business all day. I move when I want to. You know what I'm talking about? So, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, man. I'm out here in Dallas enjoying myself with the bros. Building, masterminding. We got a whole operation behind everything. This is one of our buildings. This ain't just something that's on the internet. It's a whole operation behind the scene that y'all don't see. It's 30 plus employees behind the scenes that y'all don't see. It's a whole camera crew, secretaries, directors. There's so much stuff behind the scenes that y'all don't see. That's what make this thing work. If we work hard, it works for you. You know what I'm talking about? So tap in, because we put a lot of time, energy, you understand me, smarts and access into this product. Peace, family. Let's build wealth together.